Hey, this is James with Inside Enduro, and we are live for the number 10 edition of the Inside Enduro podcast. We are sponsored by Inside Enduro. We're also sponsored by Stoke Times Rentals and Inside Enduro Power, carrying the full Sherco Enduro line. We've got two very interesting guests today. Should be fun. Adding the mix, doubling guests. First out, we have Dwight Dillon. He's a Montana native, has a fairly substantial pro motocross career that was going on. He's been a Washougal 450 Pro national qualifier. And any of you guys know anything about pro motocross? And I mean, I don't know a ton, but I know enough that it takes a lot of goddamn work to get to a position like that. And so we're really excited to have Dwight. Also, we have Jake Baumert. He's a Kentucky native. He has qualified and raced numerous Lucas Oil Pro in the 250 class, has heaps of top 20 finishes. And again, you know, to be in that top 20 at that level, man, you got to have your shit strapped on. So really excited to have these guys. I think they bring a lot of information and a lot of just excellent, what I call texture to kind of the whole motorcycle, chasing your dreams, and the whole program. And later on, you're going to want to see this. We have set up our television setup, and we have the Daytona finish thriller. It was to qualify for the 250 main event for the final transfer spot. I tell you, man, I was watching it, and Matt, our social media guy, showed it to me, and I'm pretty sure I'd seen it elsewhere on other feeds or on TV, because it's like classic. And you can see these two guys want it so bad, and they just fucking lay it down. Just lay it down. It's man, anytime you see someone go at it like that, you know, it's just so impressive. And you know, and you're talking about the time, a class that on that podium you had Baggett, Cian Cirillo, and Davalos as your top three. So I mean, we're talking, you know, I mean, big stuff. So hey, Dwight, Jake, damn glad to have you guys.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. I've listened to a lot of podcasts and never thought I'd be on one, so I'm honored. I appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, I as well. I am super pumped and appreciate the opportunity. We are. I've watched a bunch of Joe Rogan and stuff like that, so being on a podcast, this legitimate setup, feels pretty awesome. Feels pretty cool.
Cool. Well, we're here now, so let's have fun and tear it up. I do want it. Today's a very special day. We've got two great guests. We also gave away 100% free dirt bike today. And that had always kind of been a dream for me. I was a kid that had a Yamaha DT100 that we got for $50. And, you know, kids were racing, and I grew up in Billings, and we lived in a shitty trailer court. We couldn't afford our own trailer. I mean, we had to rent a piece of shit. We couldn't even afford our own piece of shit. And, you know, I'd mess around on that bike. And, you know, it was just always a dream of mine to have a new dirt bike. And I think that that'll kind of position us to go into the whole dream of dirt bike riding of, you know, from where it starts. And, you know, a lot of us, I mean, I remember a time being in just a dusty lot, you know, flat, and just literally run the bike till it's out of gas, going in circles in your own dust.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking it's the goddamn greatest thing in the world.
I got a pit bike recently, and that's pretty much all I do.
Yeah, I used to, back in the day, my dad, when I was like on super minis and stuff, my dad used to run a motocross track over in Indiana, and like when it would start getting too cold to ride and too muddy, he'd make me make a corner track in the parking lot, and it was just straight shale rock, like straight ice. And as I've grown up, I've learned to really appreciate that, and like I go do that right now and have a blast.
That's so cool, man. I bet you learned how to drift a bit too.
Yeah, it teaches you throttle control, that's for sure.
Oh man.
I think that's how it is growing up in Montana too, because like we kind of have a rocky surface around here, so I had to learn how to like float around a lot. And so like when I grew up in Kalispell, and so our main track was Hungry Horse, and I don't know if anyone's ever rode Hungry Horse, but it's very rocky, very loose. And so the people that were fast when I was growing up just knew how to kind of ride a little bit out of control, and like me now, like as an adult that still rides, I had to relearn it, start riding trails and stuff recently, because like it is a whole new feeling coming from like traction and control to no traction, no control. This is what I love to do.
Yeah, it's so funny how just so many different disciplines and so many different places bring different skills. And, like Jake's explanation of, learning how to drift on shale, and, that's what you have. And like you said, Hungry Horse, and, a good friend of mine, Kendall Norman, growing up in Southern California, hitting those kind of just dry, slick, the roads above Santa Barbara, where you just learn how to drift it. And it's kind of funny because everybody comes from their own thing, and that becomes your comfort zone. Then you start learning the other things, and it just makes everybody just has a different skill set.
Yeah.
It almost brings a whole new fun back into it, if you want the truth, because you get super comfortable in traction control. Like as us being motocrossers, we were so used to just running.
You guys do.
Yeah. Jake and I personally.
Just you and Jake.
And then we go back to we go riding, even just the back, a dry slick turn track or something like that. And you have to change entirely just for that day. And then for me, when I moved back to Montana, I started riding the mountains, and I felt like a goon for a little while. I had to literally learn how to just skate across it again. And it was a whole new fun for me, because I was comfortable in one condition, and now I was not comfortable again, and I had to relearn it again.
Well, it definitely keeps the stimulus up, and and that's kind of the new thing for me. I love the challenge. I love the education of it, of learning new skills. Like if you don't have it down, and it's a new challenge, and that new challenge, and I think you guys can appreciate this. I mean, to get where both of you guys have got, you got to fight like a dog.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
So that means you're tenacious to begin with.
Yep.
So if you like to fight like a dog, and, if you're out riding a trail and you don't have a certain skill and you're getting caught up, I think most people who are just, if that's not acceptable to you, you're like, you know what, I'm going to figure that out.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that you say that, because I've been starting to trail ride with the people that I used to ride moto with, and they're spanking me on the trails, and I'm like, all right, now I got to really step this up so I'm not embarrassing myself anymore.
Yeah, and that can be actually exponentially hard, because if you have in your mind that you're riding something new, and and you're replacing technique with just giving it more gas because I should be better than this, then it's like it's a spiral downwards,
Yeah.
And, so getting in your mind to, just like how you've learned how to relax on a motocross track.
Yep.
You got to learn how to, relax on the trail with, things that are different and things you're not quite, comfortable with, et cetera.
Yeah. As I've gotten older, trying to become a more well-rounded rider and just experience all different types of riding is what I like to do now. And even when I was growing up, my dad would send me to Trials Training Center, because my uncle, he was a Sherco dealer, and I'd go down there and I'd ride trials bikes for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
With a bunch of pro trials guys like Cody Webb. I've gone riding with him a few times. So doing stuff like that, I enjoy it a lot more now than I used to, but it's definitely a good time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I've had a TKO experience as well. And we picked up trials bikes, and it's interesting when you're looking at other skills, and I'll try not to get on a tangent, but so many people will go to, YouTube, and they'll look at the moto skills and trial skills. And I did that for a while, and that didn't last very long, because typically what happens is you look up the skill and you go out and try it for an hour and it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And it's because they left out 3 or 4 really important steps, or it just, wasn't enough. And, it's funny, when you start doing searches, the things that come up, and pre-podcast, Dwight and Jake were talking about, internet searches. And what was the thing you saw on Netflix? It's a movie.
The Social Dilemma.
The Social Dilemma.
Yeah, super interesting show. Just talking about how everything you do on the internet is being tracked, and they tailor everything that shows up on your feeds to you and what you've been looking up and all that stuff, and where you're at in certain areas. So some scary stuff, honestly, but it's kind of cool to watch and learn about it.
A little nerve-wracking for my phone, but
yeah, you don't want to be traced to that. Yeah, it's interesting. And I think I've seen a bit on it where, essentially they're curating what you see.
Yeah.
So, for example, if Dwight looks up something on his phone, he's going to see something, if he puts in, Mustang, 65 Mustang, he's probably going to see something different than Jake's going to see.
Yeah.
And depending on what your guys' previous searches are. So you have two people put in the exact same search word, and you're going to have sometimes completely, different responses.
Yeah.
And I know this to be for a fact because I've got a friend that I'll protect his name so he isn't potentially convicted. But for example, he could type in dirt bike and the first search item is porn. And then he could type in the New York Empire State Building and it's going to be porn big dicks. And it just goes on and on and on. So essentially, he's just limited to porn.
Yeah. Mine's limited to dirt bikes. It's weird. Mine always just comes with something related. It always goes back to Motorsport Outlet. Some relation to great deals. Dennis Kirk, the Motorsport Outlet, all the big sale shops. I'm I didn't really search for anything sale motocross gear, but sweet, hell yeah.
Wow. At least it's not coming up with dudes who like to suck feet.
True.
It's not calling you out on what you really like.
Then we know what you do in your private time.
Jake's the one with the OnlyFans here. We're just
Jake. What comes up on your Google feed?
I don't know yet. I'm gonna keep that one to myself. Let you guys stay interested.
Well, you're a wise man. I had a good friend, a mentor of mine, once tell me sometimes if you need to tell somebody, tell your dog. That was good advice.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't tell me.
Yeah, Dwight will tell everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a big mouth. I laugh a lot and I like to tell stories. I won't lie.
Yeah. Then you add a few beers to it.
Oh man, they're going off.
Yeah. See. And again, if you were silly enough to tell Dwight, well, you deserve what you get.
Yeah, exactly. That's your own fault, honestly. And Jake knows that. That's why he smiles and looks away.
That's why. That's why sometimes you need to tell your dog. But. So cool. I kind of got off on a tangent. I'm going to come back to the free bike giveaway.
Okay.
And so again, we were thinking we had the COVID year, which as we all know blows. We're all fucking tired of it. Let's just leave it at that. When we wanted to do something really cool to say, hey, we're here. We want to provide something great. We've had a wonderful audience, a lot of support worldwide. I wish we could have sent the bike overseas if somebody wanted it, but these stupid laws.
Yeah.
But we'll figure something out for that. And so we're like, hey, what can we do? So we ended up buying a Sherco, and we paid for it ourselves. And at the time, we paid retail for it.
That's unreal. That's awesome.
And we're like, tell you what, I never had a new dirt bike as a kid. I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool to give somebody a new dirt bike, for free?
Oh yeah, that's so sweet.
That's amazing.
100% free. And 99% of the people were really on. They were awesome. And then you had the 1%. One dude commented, he's like, yeah, I won one of these before, and they made me pay shipping. Are you sure you're talking about a fucking dirt bike? Because you know what I mean?
And I honestly, if I got a free dirt bike, I wouldn't be that pissed if I had to pay shipping.
Okay, $11,000 dirt bike, $300 shipping.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Do the math, dude.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Sell the dirt bike. Pocket 10-3.
Yeah, I'm still in. I'm
not a math scientist, but it's pretty easy math, right?
Yeah, I tried to pay Matt for it, and he wasn't budging at all, honestly.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe all the DMs we had. I mean, we had people putting it all in, and it was pretty interesting. We had a lot of stories and a lot of things going on, and we try to keep with it with good spirit, but. Like you said, trying to pay off Matt, I had people soliciting me as well, but we were smart, fortunately our IT person, Rosemary, was smart, and she got a third-party software system does giveaways. So they organize it, it goes into their database, and it's at our hands.
That makes sense.
And so, which was really friggin' cool because, you know, you had a fair amount of people put in, and I don't know, I think we were all equally as excited about the draw because, like, we have no idea. Like, it's computer drawn.
Yeah, Matt. That's what Matt was telling me. I tried everything.
Yeah, sent him naked pictures of my sister. I mean, like, he asked for everything, but I got nothing. Yeah. And so, you know, we're looking at that, and you know, and we had there's one guy I remember in particular, him and I believe his girlfriend or significant other. I think he was TJ Walker, 93, and him and his girlfriend, they sent so much stuff. You know, just so much stuff. They sent videos. They sent all sorts of stuff, and it was just awesome. I'm like, in a good way.
Yes,
right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm just like, these people are awesome. And you know, again, though, it's like there's so many people putting stuff forward, and you're like, and all I could think of is like, shit, I wish we had more dirt bikes to give away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, if you could, I mean, that'd be badass. And so we ended up, actually, I reached out to TJ this morning and said, hey, you know, what size, you know, are you guys, you know, I want to send you guys some like really cool stuff.
Heck
That's
yeah,
awesome.
that's awesome. That's
You know,
way
just because, you know, I mean, man, they were going for it.
Yeah.
And, but then the next story is a little more interesting. So the winner came up this morning, and the guy's name is Dane Shovlin. He's out of North Carolina. The guy is one of those guys that literally just rides.
Loves to ride.
Like rides, does a little bit of racing. He's trying to do more racing, but you know, I had no idea who this guy is. And that's what was so weird, because you don't, you know, out of that many entries, you don't know who.
Yeah.
Heck no.
Dude, it could be somebody, because believe me, and it's not bad. I mean, I got some DMs from people like, hey, I always wanted a dirt bike.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And you're like.
Which makes you smile a little.
Which makes you smile. It's like, well, fuck, this is a good place to start.
Yep.
And so, you know, we're like, shit, all right, that'd be cool. And then we had, you know, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm from Montana, so what the fuck do I know? But we had pretty sure like inner city type stuff.
Heck yeah.
And then, you know, all I could think of is, you know, you see these videos in inner city of these guys with sick skills, like wheeling, like.
No hands.
Yeah, no hands, no helmets. But hey, guys. I don't care who you are, what you look like. Please wear a fucking helmet.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this
I
is
agree.
dangerous as it is, man. And you guys are doing some cool shit. But I'd like you guys to continue to keep doing cool shit.
And I honestly encourage safe helmets too. Like there's a fine line. If the harder you start going, the faster you start going, put it into your head and put a good helmet
man,
on.
when these guys are just wearing Adidas, wear a fucking helmet.
Yes.
You know, like start there and we'll work up. But
Yeah.
man, you guys do some awesome shit, and we want to see more of it. Just, you know, I don't care if you're running for cops or not. Just, dude, we don't want to see you get hurt.
No.
So like, yeah, you had no idea. And so the name came up, and it was like, Dane Shovlin.
Who's Dan Shelby?
I have no fucking idea. So looked him up on Instagram, and as I remember, he registered on August 25th at like 8:20 a.m.
Heck yeah.
And, you know, which was a little while ago. He was probably one of the first guys. And he'd put in, and, you know, and I looked through his bio real quick, you know, and I'm like, well, this guy's a legit guy, you know. I mean, just legit by
He rides.
loves motorcycles.
Just a genuine dude.
Yeah, genuine dude. And I'm like, all right. And that is still, we had no idea. Like, we looked at some of the stuff where we thought, maybe he's from Ohio. You know, it turns out he's from North Carolina. And so we contacted him. And actually, when I looked, he had messaged me last night, because last night we had somebody try to copy our account. So they copied our account, and they put an extra, what is that low bar thing called?
Underscore.
And
Underscore.
thank you, Rosemary. She saves us all the time. It's called an underscore, because I'm really not that literate. So they added one underscore and started messaging people that they won. And I was like doing comments till 11 o'clock last night of.
Wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I had to the point on my phone, if I hit B, butthole came up. Because I went on like, some butthole trying to ruin a good time. And, you know, fortunately, you know, most people saw or figured it out that, you know, but, you know, I mean, it fucked with some people.
Yeah.
I'd be pumped if someone told me I want a free dirt bike.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, because you want to accept, like, hey, I won.
Oh, yeah.
And that sucks, but we really didn't have any control of it ever, people reporting them and all that kind of stuff. And I looked back at the DMs, and this Dane Shovelin had messaged me about this fraudulent thing, and he had thought he had won, and like he said, he was basically like crying that like,
Oh, yeah.
he didn't, and it was a pretty interesting thing. While we're waiting, I'll try and bring it up on my phone because he sent over a video, and I'll play the audio of it.
No, like I said, that would be so unreal to hear that, and then to be like the biggest jab in the heart where you're like, oh, I don't have a bike.
Yeah, and then you actually win it.
Yeah, I couldn't even. That's like wait. So who do I believe here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys are definitely taking my climax. I mean, not literally, hopefully, but yeah. I mean, that's exactly what happened, right?
Oh, yeah.
So some fucking asshole copies our site. He got someone sent me a message that the guy got 1,000 followers in an hour from 0.
Wow.
And so that tipped a lot of people off, so a lot of people figured it out. But dude, I'm like you, it's like if you're in for a draw and like this thing shows up, you're like, oh shit,
Oh yeah.
I won. Then you find out this guy's jerking your chain.
Yeah.
So then he was super bummed. So like Jake's saying, like, dude, I'm high as a kite.
Yep.
Suicide is an option. Then next thing you know, you get a message the next morning where you're like, hey man, I looked at his story. He posted a story this morning, and it had a van just loaded with shit. Had a dirt bike, had like a child's bike and a mountain bike. And I mean, it's like all packed in. It's, homemade wood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Matt actually showed us that video.
And that was what he posted this morning because he's going somewhere. So I messaged him on his story first, and I said, hey man, you may need to make a little extra room in that van. And there isn't like a square inch in that van.
Yeah.
And then we sent him an email, and then I told him, we would hit it on a podcast.
Heck yeah.
And I sent him my phone number, and he called, and he was just freaking out. I think Matt recorded part of the conversation. But it was just so cool. But he sent me over the video, and I'll play you guys the audio.
Oh baby, I'm so excited I can't even talk. I'm driving right now in Pennsylvania. Worst part about it is last night someone made a fake profile Inside Enduro and told me I won, and I almost started crying and told my mom until I realized it was a fake profile. So then I checked my Instagram and my email, and they said I won the freaking bike. Dude, I'm so pumped! Woo! God, that is literally the best thing ever. Thank you very much, Inside Enduro. You guys are literally the best people in the world. Woo! Yeah, baby! That 2020 sure go!
So pumped.
Yeah, that's way too cool.
There's no better feeling than a new dirt bike.
Yeah.
At any level at all.
Dude, as you guys all know, that's what's so fun is like everyone here's been there, and as you know, like you get a dirt bike and it's just
That exact feeling.
It's the best thing ever.
it's so cool, right?
Oh, man.
because
Yeah.
like it's so clean, and
So
it's
tight,
so
fresh.
perfect. Yet in the back of your mind, it's never gonna look like that ever again.
Yeah.
But
You're like, do I drop it now or?
But we got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? And then, dude, and I can't even imagine, like, I've never won anything at that level of, hey, you bought it, that's one thing, or hey, maybe you got a great deal on it, or maybe you got a sponsorship. But
I won a mongoose at Sizzler's in a coloring contest when I was about 8.
you want a mongoose?
Oh, yeah. That was probably the best thing I've ever won in a contest.
That's pretty good, man. What's the best thing you won, Jake?
Shit, I don't know.
Don't say syphilis. Unless she was, like, really high.
That's not really a win.
No, nothing that extreme. Honestly, I don't know if I've won anything off of like a contest or anything like that, to be honest.
Do you even try, man?
I don't. I don't.
You got to try, dude.
I don't have the time.
Yeah, you don't win unless you try, man.
I did try to win a Sprinter van
Yeah?
off of Omaze, I think it's called.
Okay.
Didn't work out.
Didn't work out.
No, I was pretty bummed. Really want one of those.
So that's the conundrum, right? You know, do you try and get disappointed, or do you go all in?
I'll go in every time.
I mean, I think it's good to have that excitement in your life.
I think so. I think there's a risk versus reward.
Yeah.
You know, we're kicking around an idea, and I'll be interested to see what you guys think. You know, it's like, all right, so let's take the idea and say a free dirt bike. If you go eat even fast food anymore, so say you go grab fast food for dinner, it's usually around $10, right?
Per person, yeah.
Per person.
Yeah.
So we're kicking around, and we'll see what we do with it. But like, what if you said, here's a bitchin' brand new bike, $10 Tanner.
I would do it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, it's funny you say that because at the end of the dirt bike season, you always, like, motocrossers in specific, you see people that do bike raffles.
Yeah.
And they'll do, whether they're $10 or $25, but most of these bikes are bikes that have been used for the entire season. You know, pretty, especially some of our professional level bikes, they're pretty hammered, truthfully. And people, you know, they'll get, 65 or 70 entries at $10. You know, they're doing well. Like,
Well, that's like, to me, that's almost synonymous with adopting a 17-year-old from the Ukraine that had been in a juvenile detention center for 3 years for arson.
yeah, I mean, are you stoked?
Like, you really want a kid, you know, and you really want the experience, but are you going to feel really comfortable going to sleep at night with the arsonist in your house?
He could have changed. He could have changed his past, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. But
Maybe you can change them.
You do bring up a point. I don't know about.
No, I mean, what you guys are doing is unreal. Like I said, all I was referring to is the fact that you see people do it for used bikes. So the fact that you guys are doing it for a brand new bike, you guys did a free entry, like there's no way that someone could ever got a free $9,500, or I mean, what, 11,000? I have no idea what a new Shercos are.
Great, they're about 11.
Yeah, that's insane.
You know, but the Shercos too. I mean, they've kind of taken a different program. Like the factory editions, they come with a fan. They come with like a premium gripper, the Italian gripper seat.
Oh yeah.
And they come with skid plate.
It's like the KTM factory edition, if you will.
Exactly.
Yep.
So they just come stock with all the good shit, and KYB suspension, where literally, shit for bang for the buck. You don't need cone valves. You do if you're in that, and you guys kind of are like that magic weight that they build bikes for, and that one. Dwight's maybe a little more.
I'm loving.
Like once, but he's tall.
He's
not
slimmed
like
down a little bit.
But they look for that 168-pound mystery rider. Hey, just note, when I was a freshman in high school, I wrestled 170, and I had to cut to make weight at 170. So
that's probably right there.
When I was 15. So no, that mystery rider is not me. How much do you weigh?
I weigh 150 right now.
Jesus,
yeah. When I was racing pro, I probably.
You don't have like a.
I was less than that. I was like 130. You
don't have a tapeworm or anything, do you?
No. I've just always been kind of a little guy.
He's just kind of scrawny.
Lanky.
He's scrawny. He's just.
It used to be. I was literally built like a kid when I raced.
Well, you're able to manage the beast. I don't know. Yeah, I'm too big for it.
I think he maybe was like still had like the young hype level. Like little kids, they never run out of energy. I was kind of like him. He was still so young looking, and like everything was so small about him.
Was your diet like Kool-Aid and red popsicles?
No.
No.
I ate pretty good.
Yeah.
Just what I thought was good, but I knew that like I never drank soda or anything like that.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes after a full day of an outdoors, 2 30-minute motos, have a Coke.
So when you were like at the Trials Training Center, and that's in Sequatchie, Tennessee, I did my homework. I've
Nice.
been there. We were there this year. And so what age were you there?
I was like 16, I think.
Yeah.
I was still riding a super. I rode a super mini all the way till I had my driver's license. I was 17, I think. I could still race
legal? Not the driving,
Well,
being on a super mini.
Yeah, I was 16 at the beginning of the year, AMA 16.
Okay.
And then I turned 17. But I was so small I could still ride it.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was down there, I was
bet
16.
You ripped the living piss out
Oh,
of
yeah.
that thing.
It was
You had
fun.
A new top end, like every moto, or
Yeah, well, close to it.
Yeah.
Actually, when I was racing super minis like the last year, my dad would have me on a 125 and even a 250F.
yeah.
I was
Most
gonna
of the
say
time.
that I met you not much after that, and you were already like in the A class. So you went from Superman to the A class pretty fast. I didn't realize that.
I mean, pretty fast.
Well, dude, if AMA kicks you to the curb when you're 16, you've got to step up quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're like this,
But my
big,
dad
you know?
had me on big bikes since I was like 15. I mean, I was way too small for him even at 15, but
Yeah.
I was still riding them just to get the time in on them.
So Dwight, how did you guys meet, and what's that story?
Man, we
Do we need extra beers? Or?
yeah, we might need another beer.
Hey,
Yes.
by the way,
we got a lot of stories.
It is Friday in Montana.
Yeah. So
it's
we're
been a long week.
and we're gonna go trail ride tomorrow too. We're excited.
We went on a 2-hour hike this morning. I ran 9 miles yesterday after traveling all day.
Kid goes for it.
What are you training to kill an elk?
I don't know, just trying to get after it these days.
We were. He's been like that forever. We met in 2012. Actually, we met in Southern California, with trainer Shannon Naide. I graduated high school early, and I knew I was like way too ADHD to go to college yet, and I knew that I really liked motocross, and I was at like that fine level of like, do I chase this or do I call it quits? And so I chased it and went and tried to race that pro level for a little while, and him and I met with Shannon Naide as a trainer, and Shannon became someone like family to us, and Jake became like a brother to me, and we did everything together every day for years.
Do you remember the track we first met at?
I would maybe say Comp Edge.
Right. If it wasn't for Dwight being so outgoing and talkative, we probably never would have talked. He came over to my trailer when I was sitting in there.
He's this a scrawny little kid, you know. I was kind of like punk. I've always kind of had a mouth. My mouth doesn't really stop.
How's this scrawny little kid beating me?
Yeah. So I trying to figure out how he was going so fast, and if he was actually cool or if he's just a nerd, that actually was fast on a dirt bike. But ended up being my friend for years and years.
Yeah. I mean, when I was at the track, I was never really I didn't go around and socialize. I just always kind of kept to myself. I think a lot of people probably thought I was a dick because I did that. I wasn't very nice, but I just I've never been real talkative, especially at the track. I just do my thing and leave, basically.
Look at you now. Now you're on a podcast.
I know it. Crazy.
I think you can blame me for that. Sorry, dude.
But yeah, definitely, I think becoming friends with Dwight and all the kids that we train with, Buddy and all those guys, and that definitely opened my eyes a little more in life, and experienced some things I probably wouldn't have experienced without these guys.
Yeah, we had some crazy times, like from our first couple trips together. Like I remember our first couple road trips together. I think that was where he kind of got his eyes opened up to, oh man, these kids are kind of crazy. They're not just like me. They're actually like kind of a screw loose, I think. And that was where we were kind of like the crazy ones, and he was the one that always actually had his stuff together. And so Jake probably kept the group and made sure we were on time on everything, and we made sure that we were having a good time on everything.
It was a good balance for sure.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at it, if you wanted to get a description of Montanans and you look at Game of Thrones, like, we're the wildlings. Like, we're a little loose. I mean, I'm from Montana, I grew up here, and I don't know, it's hard to shake us. We're kind of, you can kind of keep your eye on the prize, but we're a little wild too. You know, we're not afraid of much.
I found that out.
We got grizzly bears. I mean, I run into them all the time. I can't even tell you how many grizzly bears I have on my GoPro footage.
Really?
When I was growing
There's
up,
another one.
when I was growing up, there was a women's racer that used to ride from Kalispell area, and she used to ride the YZ 426 when the women's used to ride all the 450 classes and stuff. And she smoked a bear and killed the bear, and she was completely fine at Hungry Horse Track that I was talking about earlier. Just came around a blind turn, and there was a bear on the track and killed the bear.
That is crazy.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
man.
How do you not get thrown off the bike?
Oh, I'm sure she was tossed, but like I said, the bear died and she didn't. That's still a win as far as I'm concerned.
Are you sure she didn't just like pull the fucking front fender off with a pointy bit? Like, ah!
I mean, she could have grinded it with her teeth. I don't know,
Dude,
right?
there's this, all you see is bloody graphics and just, dead bear everywhere.
Yeah. I could not even imagine what that'd be like. I just saw, like, you talk about it like it's all casual, but I'm still scared. Like, I still am not a bear guy. I'm not going to say that I'll go fight a bear, but like I said, I would love to go trail riding. If I ran into them, I agree. They're there in Montana.
I would definitely fight a bear.
I want to see it.
I do too.
At my stage of life, you're kind of like, all right, you're gonna.
You go with or without the bike.
It doesn't matter actually, because you're gonna die of something. So imagine this story, like, oh yeah, remember so and so? Oh yeah, that guy was this and that. Yeah, he got cancer and like he whittled away, and then like he was drinking in Sure.
Yeah.
Until he died? Mm-hmm. Or do you go, hey, do you remember James? That fucker fought a bear.
Yeah.
Did he win? No, he got killed.
That dude sent it though.
Yeah, I was like, well, fuck, he went down swinging.
Yeah.
And leave a legacy right there.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something to be said for that.
I mean, like I said, you went out with this. I guarantee you, everyone else was like, I wouldn't expect otherwise at that point.
Hopefully, I go out that way.
Exactly. It's probably a little too old for you guys, but there was a movie that was filmed in Montana, and that was the end of a superstar. That's how he died.
What was
was
the movie?
that?
Legends of the Fall. Brad Pitt.
I don't know it.
Brad Pitt.
Maybe
Too
I've
young.
seen it. I don't know.
He fought a grizzly bear to his death.
We'll watch it tonight.
Yeah, I'll
You
have to
should
look
watch
it
it.
up.
And
I'll look it
he
up.
was dead. But the kicker is, so is a grizzly, and they found half of the grizzly's testicles in Brad Pitt's mouth.
Are you serious?
That's going down swinging. I may have made it up a little bit towards the end.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's legit. And that was filmed in Montana. Dude,
Honestly, I believe the whole thing.
honestly, Dwight, that was the start of Californians
Yeah, I believe it. The relocation.
Yeah.
The relocation.
and one dude from Kentucky.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'll take a little bit of
I
it. He's
would-
not here
I
yet.
would
though.
live
He's not
here.
stuck here.
Where are you living?
I live in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just got an apartment there and just living a normal life, really, trying to ride on the weekends.
Is that just because you can't find anywhere else to live?
No. I mean, this is where all my family is.
That's true.
So I enjoy being around my family, but I've lived in Texas multiple times, actually. I like Texas a lot. And
But then he came to Montana and he's.
Montana's sick. I like it.
I don't know. As long as you got a way to get through the winter.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never been out here to experience that, so I'm sure it's a whole different animal.
Yeah, I like what you do. I like the relocating thing. I travel a lot. I have a Sprinter van. It's pretty. I get a little western all winter long because I usually end up going to Richland or Tri-Cities in Washington. And that's like about 7 hours every weekend. So it's a pain in the butt to go ride in the winter.
Dwight, you have low expectations. Because you're talking about.
You should see the girls it gets. Talk about low expectations.
Definitely Tri-Cities. Holy shit. Hey,
yeah.
and sorry, Tri-Cities.
Great gals. Great
gals.
location.
I mean, I know you have a radioactive dump in Richland. And so here, also Horn Rapids.
Oh, yeah. I grew up there. Like that was when I was that's probably where I actually learned how to go semi-fast. In Montana we were signed out all winter. We just snowboard. Everyone skis, snowboards, does something else. So my grandparents live in Airway Heights, just outside of Spokane.
Yeah.
And so I leave.
And there's a motocross track there.
A great one. So that was like the start of my moving. I go there, and then my grandparents were like, "Stay here all the time." And so then we'd go from there to Horn Rapids the next day. I'd ride for the weekend, and then we'd haul butt back for school on Monday.
Wow. So it's funny. I mean, I played Division I football, wrestled all my life, played professional rugby in Australia.
Yep.
During all of that, we're talking decades.
Yep.
Never been knocked out, ever, until Airway Heights motocross track.
Oh yeah.
So it was my first new bike ever. 1994 KTM 550 two-stroke.
Oh, gosh.
Sounds like a death machine itself.
Because, all right, I thought, and this is interesting. This is the this is what I still laugh about today. You get a young guy who finally gets enough money to buy a dirt bike, and you only can buy one, right? So it's, all right, I gotta make the right decision. You're thinking, what should I buy? It's like, $250? What if I need more power? Doesn't matter how good you are. It's like, well, God damn it, I don't want to buy something that's not enough.
That's everyone on the Facebook marketplace. I hate to say
that is basically 99% of the people out there.
Mm-hmm.
And at Inside Enduro, this is something we're looking to change. And so I was like, well, what do you got that's bigger? You know, like, oh, you got, you know, these 450, you know, 4-strokes. Like, I don't know anything about 4-strokes. What's bigger? We got the biggest thing we have is this KTM 550. Like, that's the biggest? Like, yeah.
I need that.
Well, that's what I need.
I'll take it.
And dude, I obviously didn't have the skill to even be in the same parking lot as that goddamn thing. It was insane.
I can't imagine it.
Not counterbalanced. I mean, it was insane. So I'm like, all right. And I wasn't a motocrosser because I had a DT 100. Like, I would ride with those guys on the weekend, but they just kicked my ass.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I took the blinkers and the headlight off, and it wasn't like a moto headlight. It was like a fucking headlight. You know?
Welcome home.
Yeah, like a big ass, you know, thing. And, you know, and you'd go at it. And so I went out there to Airway Heights, and I'll give it back to Dwight after the story, but I didn't know anything about anything. I'm like, all right, I'll try it. And I practiced on the track a bit. And again, I'm a big dude. And at that time, I was like 250. So having at it, and it had a set of, you probably remember them. There was a set of doubles, double. And so I, you know, one of the heats, I was doing good, doing all right. I mean, I was just getting around the track, and I was pretty happy. So I was hitting all the jumps, you know, to me, clearing everything that was there. And I'm like, okay, well, that's the first step, right? You guys laugh at this, but then come around on one of them, and I had friends that came from Seattle to watch me, friend and his wife, right? And it was a double, and I don't know, on the 4th or 5th lap, I was getting pretty good arm pump, and I went over the first double, landed it, slipped or something, and ended up giving it full throttle on the up on the second double. And all I remember is like fucking rotating above the earth. Like, it wasn't that I fell off. I was just like, hey, there's the fucking sun. And when I hit the ground, and you guys are probably too young, we had black and white TVs like when I was a kid. They weren't all black and white, so fuck all y'all. I'm not that old, but we had one. And at night, when you turn the fucker off, it just goes, boo. It would like,
I kind of remember that from the original color sheet.
Yeah, it'd come down and just go,
yep, sign
that
out.
was that.
It was like a signing out.
Yeah, and I shit you not. That's what happened to me. Like, I'm up in the air, and the second I hit the ground, just,
I've had that happen before, but.
And so, and I don't think I was out long, but I opened, and the helmet, you're talking about wearing a good helmet. I was wearing a helmet that was called, the brand was Laser.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
With a Z.
Heck yeah.
Anyone out there, technically, Laser is spelled with an S. So, you know right there it's not a good sign.
But it's probably badass.
It really wasn't. I just didn't have any money. I got the new bike, and I could just barely afford gear.
Bike's all you need.
That's all you need. Dude, and it's funny. Like, you think about it at that time, I didn't even know what valving suspension was. No idea.
Yeah.
Like, no idea. I didn't know anything about anything. And I opened my eyes, and you know when your goggles and your helmet and you're laying on your back, it's like tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And there's my friend's wife in my face. Like, are you okay? And I was like, am I still here?
I'm alive?
Yep. And yeah, you know, I think that was pretty much the end of like real. No, actually it wasn't, but for a while it was. It was the end of like real motocross. And I really wasn't chasing it. I was just trying to like, hey, this is what you do, you know.
Yeah.
Get after it.
No, I feel that. Motocross is like pretty demanding if once you start putting it all into it. that was kind of, I think, why I went back to college after that. It's like it's a full-time job if you want to be at that very, very top level at any sport. I mean, from ball sports to dirt bike sports. Like, if you want to be the best, you have to train like similar to the best, and it was pretty intense at that time. And that, like I said, if you don't take it seriously, you end up hurt semi-regularly, or not. If not regularly, it's bound and determined to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy, man. You guys may appreciate this. So I was older. This is probably like 5 years ago. No, maybe 4 years ago. And I'm chasing the education part, and that's what I like. I like learning how to do new things. Mm-hmm. And you think, all right, well, yeah, I'm an older dude, but, let's just throw that aside and let's see what we can learn. So you may appreciate this. So I went to a place called MTF.
Oh, yeah.
Millsaps, Colleen Millsaps, Davey Millsaps' mom.
Yeah, I've been there.
She's hard. Mm-hmm. It's in Georgia, and she knows what she's doing. No doubt. So I go there for a week. And I'm like, I got to be honest, man. I think I'm like 45, 46 years old. But I'm in good shape. I'm like, and I don't know shit about it. And I wasn't there to learn how to jump. I was just there for skills. And so they set me up with a KTM 450. And you come into the class, and again, this is where you got to check your shit at the door, right? And I'd already done it. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm just trying to learn. And I think the oldest kid was like 17. And it's because he was hurt. So he was coming back from injury. And, but so I'm here with these kids that are like, they're from all over the world. Like, there's a kid from South Africa, a kid from Australia. And these kids live there. Oh, yeah. Like, they homeschool. They ride 6 days a week. They have a full...
They're all in.
All in. Yep. Full athletic training facility. And the guy that was running the training was an ex-Navy SEAL. And we were the same age. So we totally hit it off.
Yeah.
And so I would have discussions with him in the evenings like, hey, what are you doing for training, et cetera, running, this and that. And he's like, yeah, we don't do a lot of impact training because, a lot of kids are carrying hardware. And I'm like, hardware? He's like, yeah, hardware. So these young kids, they're already full of metal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
From ankle fracture, wrist fracture, forearm fracture, humerus fracture.
I got some metal.
It's crazy.
Dwight has some metal. Jake, you have any metal?
No, I was very fortunate, and I only ever got hurt twice in my whole career.
Better knock on wood.
Dislocated my kneecap and broke my collarbone.
Wow. And you never got collarbone plated?
Nope.
Yeah.
It was just a fracture.
You got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine's had a pretty deep list, and that was kind of like why I went and got some professional training. Is because I was going a little too fast for what my skills truly could handle. So then I was getting hurt pretty often. So that was kind of how Jake and I ended up meeting up at that Shannon and IDMX schools when we were, 17, 18 years old, is because I was either going to go to college like everyone else did, or I was going to go try to make it as a pro. But if I had to do that, I honestly needed to figure out what it needed to be a pro.
Yeah. I was in the same position. My dad basically said, you either want to race, you want to give it a shot, because this was right after I dislocated my kneecap, and I was 18. I just graduated high school.
And by the way, everybody, that was my background. I have a full orthopedic, 25 years. Dislocating your kneecap is not an enjoyable thing.
No. I didn't crash or anything. I just dabbed my knee, and I felt it. It just popped. And luckily, it didn't tear anything. It just had a little chip on my femur, but it went out and went back in on its own.
Oh, it did go back in on its own. So some people, it doesn't go back in.
I can't even imagine
and that's,
that kind of pain.
Yeah, you'll feel like you shit a family of squirrels.
I can imagine, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, but the best part is when
the little forest squirrels or like the big ones in Kentucky.
Either way, it's still painful.
The best part,
there's no easy one.
It's either or like.
Yeah.
Okay.
The best part, though, is after it happened and I'm getting a ride in the mule up to the ambulance, my dad's riding my bike next to it, screaming at me like, you idiot. I told you not to dab your leg. It's
I had
funny.
the same thing. I
This
broke
is
my
not
femur.
the time, Dad.
Yeah.
This is not the time.
I broke my femur when I had just met Jake. I had spent like 6 months training with Shannon and I and with Jake and this is my first time I had really spent a ton of time training with a bunch of people that were like training at this level. So we're working out together, we're doing all this stuff together. And so like I came back to Montana. I was freshly 18 years old, feeling like the man, having fun, and I came back and walked with my public high school graduation and then right after that there just happened to be on pro money, like there's some money added to the local track, and I had rode that track like a bunch of times, and I remember I over scrubbed the triple like on the first lap. I hole shot and I over scrubbed the triple on the first lap, 100% my own fault. And then I broke my femur. I ended up trying to like basically like walking myself off the track. I was so embarrassed of what I did. I like did a 1 foot off bit, and as soon as I got to the side, I told him I broke my femur. My dad walked over and he stormed off, and he didn't come visit me in the hospital or anything because he was so mad at me because it was 100% my own fault. I had literally like I was winning. I should have just cruised, and instead I had to go just hurt myself. I ended up in the hospital. It was a learning experience.
Yeah, did they do surgery on you?
Oh yeah, I got pins and rods.
So
in my
they
femur.
put a rod and pin, and and that's what I mean. When I was maybe even a little older, when you guys were doing that, that's what I was doing. I was putting rods and femurs, and I had trauma call and all this shit. So believe me, and
thank God I don't know you. Before this,
you don't want to. At that time, you didn't want to know me, and that's what I was doing when you were at that age. You know, so it's like it's funny, like. You're a tough bastard when you hear like, well, when I broke my femur, you know, it's like, that's a really massive major thing. And when you act like, well, that's like the time I stubbed my toe, that's when you know you've been fucked up.
My injury list is not like something I brag about, but it's also something that like definitely made me the person I am. Because
it galvanizes you, right? It's called
the Navy with it.
The Navy SEALs call it forging.
Yes.
And it's just forging that tough personality. And, it's funny, like on femurs, when you talk about femurs, I was reading, I think I was living in Idaho running this business, and somebody got mauled by a grizzly bear. And it happens, 3-4 times a year.
Yep.
Like this year, we already had a mountain biker. The bear ripped his fucking face off at Big Sky.
Yep.
And this is like basically in town, right?
Yep.
It's called Ouzel Falls. Like we've all been there.
It's right, like Jake hasn't been there, but it's literally right out of town.
It's a mile and a half out of like town center, right? And the person on a mountain bike gets his fucking face ripped off, So you're thinking, wow, that's pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
I'm pretty close.
And so there was a mauling quite a few years back, and this guy, they interviewed him, and he goes, yeah, the bear came on me, and I just played dead like, they say you're supposed to do. But when I was laying there, I felt the bear bite through my femur. And I could feel my femur just completely crack.
Oh.
And he goes, and I know you're supposed to be quiet and everything, but I kind of whimpered a bit. I was like, fuck, dude.
Yeah,
You only whimpered?
A bear just bit through your femur, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
how do you play dead?
That's a Montana. I love it, man. He was shitting on himself because he goes, when the bear bit through my the largest, thickest bone in my body, and it like crushed into pieces, I whimpered a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, no shit, dude. I'll give you a pass.
That dude.
I told the medics that my femur is broken. I was like, it's broken right on the top of my knee braces. I can tell you where it's broken. And they were like, there's no way you'd be this confident. I was 18 years old. There's no way you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, all I'm saying is just give me the hospital because my femur is broken. And I got there and my femur is broken.
Yeah, for $11 an hour, I don't expect you to know or believe my femurs.
No.
I know they let you turn the lights on. We love you. We need you, but it's fucking broken.
Yep.
So, all right. I think this is a good segue. We did something special. We set up a video that has Jake. He's in Daytona. It is in the last qualifying race for the main event. And I'm pretty sure, I know for a fact I've seen this, and Matt, our media manager, showed it to me, said, hey, check this out. I think you should have this guy on the podcast. And I'm like, sure. He plays it. And I don't know what it was. I was immediately just like, whoa, this is fucking cool. Because I'm just one of those guys, man. It's like, I like, it doesn't, dude, I don't care if it's fucking making pottery. If someone's like really into it,
Yeah.
like they're really into it,
Yeah.
and you got to appreciate that. And so, let's look at this thing. So, Rosemary, can you tell me when you're
ready.
You're ready? All right. This is awesome. I don't want to, there's one button.
Riders that make a little mistake, that's going to allow Zimmer and Baumert to move in. Well, you saw Clausen at the top there in the 761 off the track. He had been one spot out of a transfer. Now he's completely off the racetrack. That's moved Baumert up. So he's now one spot out. Still, Peters, Albers, Owen, and Zimmer in the transfer spots. So one to go. Final lap. And how about Baumert? He's fifth. Feel free to talk, dude. Just turned the third.
Yeah. If you guys don't know, that is me in the all black.
Yeah, you commentate.
I'm in fifth right there.
So you're all black.
Yeah.
On the black bike.
That's right.
Currently racing.
That was my look. It's still my look today.
See, you did a tear off? Dude, my butthole's so tight up in the air that I could never pull a tear off, dude.
You would actually, surprisingly, like in the moment, I was not like, I didn't think it was as big of a deal as it is watching it on TV. Like I was actually super calm, and I don't know, in my head I knew, I was like, I'm gonna make this happen.
So, dude, when I go to pull a tear off like that, all the tear offs come off, every one of them.
Hate that.
We actually hit in that turn coming out. I knew we were coming into this last turn right here, and he was going to try to block me, and I cut down, and then it's just a drag race from there. And then we go through this final whoop section after this triple, and that was the fastest I'm sure either of us had hit it all night.
Whoa! Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck was going... I mean,
Sent it.
all right. So, what was going through your mind, dude?
I got to get this spot. I was like, I just knew I was holding it wide open going to the finish line. I'm like, he's going to send it. I have to send it. So
Here we go.
we're both just wide open right here. And I scrubbed the finish line, and he just launched it. I mean, it was close.
Jake doesn't scrub very well, though.
Well,
But,
dude,
like,
in
so-
this case, you don't want to scrub, right?
He sent it.
Yeah, you can.
Whoa!
Yeah, we both went way past the landing. But it was like I could hear the crowd screaming and stuff. It was pretty awesome. And I didn't realize how big of a deal it was until I get back to the rig, and everyone there was like, that was so sick, and they were showing me the replay on TV. They were showing it to me on TV, and I was like, damn, I got some TV time.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen too often.
Dude,
when
you got some
announce a
all-time
cue.
TV time.
Yeah.
Still to this day, you see that all the time on Supercross. I remember
that's
telling
where
Matt,
I've seen it. I think when you watch
Yeah.
Daytona, like they go, "Hey,
They'll show that.
this is what's happened at Daytona before."
Yeah, and I had so many Facebook notifications and texts and all that stuff. Everyone's just like, that was so sick. It was a pretty cool feeling.
Well, I think it's funny. Like, I mean, you guys would maybe appreciate this. It's like you've got the times where, as a human, you'd hope you have some self-preservation.
oh yeah,
But as we know, especially sounds like Dwight knows, sometimes you just fucking let it go and, see what happens, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of like the lemmings, when the lemmings are jumping off the rocks and one goes, the next one goes. And I see it in hard enduro all the time. Like if you'll see people totally held up at a big obstacle, but then one guy shows up and just does it. All of a sudden, hey,
yep.
it's possible, and it goes. And it's like, I would imagine at that point, you just kind of let go and say, well, fuck it. I'm going to launch it, and we'll just kind of figure out what happens afterwards.
I knew that I had to make it happen. Like I was in that position where I could that was the first main event I ever made. And so I knew I was in that position to make it happen, and I had to make it happen, whatever it took.
Yeah.
So just sent it.
So Dwight, I'm not a sports commentator, but I would imagine that would have not happened if he knew how to scrub well.
Well, honestly, he qualified. I just give him shit all the time.
I'm just kidding.
I like to talk shit to Jake in general, truthfully.
Because it was like 1/1,000,000th of a second. If you would have scrubbed it all, that'd have been it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. There's no brakes. You had to send it. I just give him shit.
Yeah. I definitely didn't hit my brakes on the face of that jump. A lot of times
one
when I
could've.
scrub, you hit the brakes a little bit just so you don't flat land it like that.
Yeah.
But that one, there was no fucks given.
I like it. Dude, sometimes you got to let it roll. But isn't it? It fucking sucks when you get hurt, but obviously. But, man, isn't it sometimes just so fun just let it fucking go?
Dude, I've crashed sometimes where I definitely got up smiling because I knew that I was probably pushing that fine line of like it was probably coming soon.
Yeah.
And then like I said, you get up smiling, you're like, well, it was more almost inevitable, you know?
I feel like a lot of times that happens when you're like feeling your best because you're just like you're feeling really good, so you're going really good, and then it just comes out of nowhere. It just
Cloud
bites
nine.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, they call it, I think that's called bulletproof.
Yeah, you used to get up smiling, and then you're like, all right, let's do it again.
Unless your femur's broken.
Yeah. Then you're out for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I had one. It's funny. I get shit from one of my friends, Colton Haker, for sure.
Yep.
He's a bit of a little bastard sometimes, but I love him. But I had a deal in Romania, and they do that nasty prologue.
Oh, yeah.
And last year we're there, and the first setup was 2 doubles. And I was expecting, like, hey, I want to be near the podium this year.
Yeah.
It's my 3rd one.
That's gnarly.
I've got it dialed. Like, this is what I want. And through the whole prologue course, I looked at it, and it's fucking gnarly. And I'm looking at it, and the only thing that I focused on was there were 2 doubles. And there's basically like a flat takeoff ramp, which I had no idea what your lift would be. And it was 28 feet, and then a set of logs that were 2 feet tall on asphalt. And then another one with a 30-foot gap, 28-foot gap. So I was so screwed up in my mind that I went to sleep the previous night. I didn't care about the rest of the course.
Only thought about that.
And that's all I'm thinking about. It's like, listen, if I want to be in the top, I got to I got to double. Where a lot of people are just going to roll the first one, pop up, roll the second one, pop up. And I'm like, okay, there's 2-3 seconds there. This is a 2.5 minute qualifier.
Yep.
So it matters. It was a fucking mistake. So I just I'm just not that comfortable in the air, AKA airway heights.
Yep.
And so I was so scared about underjumping the first jump. I overjumped the first jump. And I landed basically on the face of the second jump and then endoed into the flat logs on the asphalt on the second jump.
Oh my God.
Broke my wrist, tore my saphenous vein in my femur, which by the way is your largest vein in your femur.
Oh.
And and still, like, so now my wheel's facing 15 degrees the wrong direction because my triple clamps are tweaked. Jump back on the bike, continue, pass, and you're leaving one rider every minute. Pass 2 riders in a 2.5 minute course, and then get done, and I'm like, oh, I don't feel so good.
Yeah. Damn.
Adrenaline's a crazy thing.
It is.
Yeah, well, here's where it gets crazy. So now you've trained a whole year for Romaniacs. You have 4 off-road days that are like 8 to 10 hours of full-on racing a day for 4 days. And I had help from Rosemary and my friends to put my gear on me. And you guys will appreciate this. And I mean, I felt fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
And so I go to Red Bull. I'm like, I'm in Romania. I'm like, do you have a doctor? And they're like, yeah, we have a doctor. I'm like, all right, I think I need to see him.
Yeah.
So I go see this doctor, and this dude, He looked like you know who Wim Hof is?
Yes,
Yeah.
I love him.
So he's like an older Wim Hof. I shit you not. Except he's got the Wim Hof hair, but he's bald on top. But it's all long here.
I got you.
So he wears a headband.
Hell yeah.
Like doctors that wear a fucking headband. I don't know.
Must be legit.
I hope so. And they set him up with this little room in the Ramada in Sibiu, Romania. And he's got this little room. And I go in there and he's looking at me and he's asking me all sorts of nutty, crazy questions. And I'm like, I feel horrible, man. He's like, oh, no problem. I give you injection. And I think I would have said no, but like everything there was new. And I'm in the medical, you know, I'm from the medical world. And
Yeah.
it's clean. Everything looks legit on that part. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Like he's wearing Adidas pants.
Everything but him.
Yeah, he's wearing Adidas pants, like a Hawaiian shirt, and a fucking headband.
Hell yeah.
You
I
know?
feel like those are usually the best ones.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
They got some tricks.
Oh yeah, and he smokes like a chimney, right? You know, so he has a smoke. He goes, you know, I give you injection, you know, etc. I'm like, okay. And because being in the medical industry, he sets up this needle, and he has this. It's like a 16 gauge needle. It's like what you'd use on a fucking horse. Like you could pass a piece of bubble gum through it.
Oh my God.
And he's like, you know, turn over. And I'm like, but I was hurting so bad, and I've trained for a year. I'm like, well, fuck, do it.
Be a good memory.
Do what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
So he stabs me in the ass with this thing,
Oh.
and I'm just like, oh my God, you know what I mean, dude? I've been through some stuff in my life, and I'm like, holy shit, Batman. And you know, he's like, I clean up a bit. There's like blood everywhere. Like I'm pretty sure he nicked an artery. And the good thing about it was all the pain in my wrist and my leg, I forgot about because my ass hurt so bad
I've had that.
from him stabbing me. And to this day, I can't honestly tell you, you know, if it was good or not. He gave me some type of painkiller. And then all I know, like at 6 o'clock in the next morning, I got to suit up. And so they had to put the gear on me because I couldn't move.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't flex my leg because I tore my saphenous vein. So I couldn't sit down. And, but all I'm thinking about is like, okay, well, here's your options, dude. And this is the Montana thing.
Yep.
It's like, I'm here. I'm in Romania. I'd been there for 5 weeks training
That's insane.
with Paul Bolton and
I'm sure you have to.
Alfredo Gomez and Keith Curtis and, you know, all my friends. And so the only thing I could think about was like, well, fuck, I guess I go back to my hotel and I hang out there for 4 days.
Yeah.
It's
in
pretty
Romania?
soft.
And and tell you, I've been to Romania 3 times. We spend a month at least at a time. And I can't tell, I've not watched 1 minute of Romanian television. So I'm thinking, well, that's not an option. I haven't watched any television. I'm going to go back to the room. I'm just like, fuck it. And I felt like I didn't think I could do a mile. I'm like, well, put the shit on me. Took a bunch of Motrin. I didn't even wrap my wrist was shattered. Mm-hmm. Shattered the hamate. I didn't even wrap it. Because, dude, there was pain everywhere. I was like, well, fuck. What's that going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'll start. 10 hours later, I'm going under the Red Bull finish line.
That's nuts.
And I'm just like, oh, all right, well, that's day 1. And then, dude, day 1, day 2, day 3.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I don't know if it was day 2 or day 3, but they had something equivalent to a hurricane move through. And I remember seeing video of pop-ups. The wind hit so hard. There's like 4 or 5 guys holding onto it, and it took them all.
Yeah, I believe
Oh
it.
my
Like
God.
everybody went with it,
Nuts.
like end over end. And lightning's coming down, and I'm in this forest, and I'm like, I am so fucked up. I'm just like, whatever you believe in, God, nature, Lord of Thunder.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna strike me and kill me, this is a great time. Dude, I swear to whatever you believe in, I swear
Funny
to
as
it.
hell.
I was like, listen, if you're gonna take me now, with lightning or whatever,
Yep.
this is a wonderful time.
Yeah.
This is a wonderful time to do it. And but sometimes, man, you gotta dig into those places.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I raced Loretta. I broke my collarbone the week before Loretta Lynn's one year. I made Loretta's like in the intermediate class, and I was on a 252 stroke. I made Loretta's in like 250B stock mod and 450B stock all on one stock RM 252 stroke. And so I like trained all summer in Houston, so could get used to the humidity because it was way too gnarly in Montana. Like I wasn't gonna go to Loretta's training in Montana, so I spent all summer in Houston. I broke my collarbone the week before Loretta's, and I definitely didn't tell anyone that I broke my collarbone. Tried to race, and I made it through practice. Made it through the first motos. I got a 15th the first moto, and definitely actually hurt myself worse. I broke my collarbone in 3 spots after that, but it was just like such a dumb learning curve. I was 15 years old, just made the intermediate class, and I was like hard-headed as heck. And I knew my dad I was like on this fine line of like, will he be more mad at me if I broke my arm because I was training, or will he be more mad at me if we can't go for Loretta's? I'm like, I'll go to Loretta's.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting deal, but I mean, really, that's unfortunately, as long as you survive it, that's how you learn, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you right now, I was so disappointed in myself because I was like, you idiot. It's like you were so focused on saving 2 or 3 seconds, where the reason I didn't look at the rest of the course was because I knew I had it in the bag.
Yep.
I knew I had the skills for it. So there was nothing that concerned me. And that's a gnarly prologue course.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, there's nothing really that concerns me. The differentiator is going to be this, and I had to do that. So I focused on such a small thing that really didn't matter in the big picture, but yet it jacked me the worst. And it was it sucks, but it's a good lesson learned.
Oh yeah. It's like I said, it sucks that sometimes your best lessons learned are the hardest ones, as they say, or the most painful.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard or painful way a few times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and sometimes, that's the way we learn, right?
It's the only way to learn. It's the best. I think it's the best way to learn.
Yeah, like I said, I'm still smiling because of it, and I still ride dirt bikes because of it. I've definitely been hurt plenty of times because of it. But what's funny is, like I said, I got hurt so many times. That's why I went and got training and figured out if I wanted to ride dirt bikes a lot longer, I was like, I'm gotta figure out how to make myself a little bit safer.
Yeah, to a bit. And it's funny. I mean, I'm sure you guys know, the more technique you have, funny enough, the safer it gets.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've really learned. And I spent a year in Texas helping Shannon train kids and stuff, and that was like the biggest thing is these kids would try to go as fast as they could, and I'm like, here's what you need to do. You need to slow down a little bit and focus on your technique and stuff, gain more control, and then you start building the speed. And that's one of the main ways you get faster. You got to become a safer rider first, and then you start getting that speed going.
I learned
that control.
It's crazy, like I said, that some of the are like your friends with Haker and some of those people, but they're just so skilled on a bike. Their skills are perfect for a motocross track. They can go to any track, and that's kind of how I've gotten into the hills and stuff like that, is because I grew up with I love Kevin Rookstool. I was a fan of Kevin Rookstool, and now he's up at Gold Creek and stuff, and he just explained to me how much fun he was having just trail riding and stuff like that. And you go ride with people like that have so much skills on a motocross track, and then I had to entirely learn the same skills. Like I said, trying to ride a gear higher and trying to actually still use the balls of your feet and just have the confidence that you can get through some of these things, where I did not know that had it not been for the skills that we developed years ago. Like I said, I had to go back to the basics, but it just took me so long because all my basics were on a motocross track. So when you go into a woods and you're pinning around a tree or these super small things that I never thought put myself in these positions. So I'm like, this is really fun. But like you said, it goes back to those 100% basics of just being over your bike and being in control of what you're doing.
Oh yeah, it's a different channel, and I like it. It seems, in a weird way, almost artistic, because you can, as you increase those skills, you really interpret the trail completely differently. Like I look at what I see now compared to, what I saw a few years ago. And, I mean, I was essentially one of those guys looking at the YouTube and looking at Red Bull TV, and I saw Romaniacs, and I'm like, wow, I wonder if it's possible that I could even do that crazy shit, And then you see Erzberg, and you're like, whoa, and then like next thing you know, it's like, well, I'm there.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it. And you're like, okay, all right, it's doable. But, you just look at things so much differently. You're looking at a trail that has, a big, gnarly root section, where everyone is just bombed and, they're either pushing the bike or whatever. And you just look at it differently. It's like, oh, no, I'm going to, that first root right up against the tree base, I'm going to hit my front wheel, wait for the rebound, and clear the entire root section. Just clear it entirely, which I would have never in a million years, had the confidence or looked at it that way. But, all of a sudden, it's almost like learning how to read another language.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's funny you say that. I had to learn that. We lived, like, just up the road. Matt and I lived just up the road, and here in Belgrade, and I made this turn track years ago when I was training, like right when I came to college. And we'd always made perfect turn tracks, perfect ruts, perfect that. So our turn track was really short, and so I had been living at this property for a while. So I'm like, let's add a little bit of like the wood section and stuff like that. And then once I started doing that, I've had so much more fun because I was terrible in the wood section. It was a little bit rocky. There was the ruts exactly like you're talking about. And I really didn't know how to do it. I'd slide across them. I'd slide this way. I'd slide that way. And I'd panic. And now, like I said, you go a lot slower and you just find yourself like blipping over it and just like having like smiling. You're like laughing as you're doing it. You're like, it does get a lot more fun because it does it requires more skill, but in the same sense, it's like a different skill than what I've always done. It just shows like the cool side of dirt bikes as a whole.
Yeah, I've termed it. I hashtag it all the time. I create it. It's called bike judoka.
Yeah.
It's like the jujitsu of how to move that thing around.
Yeah.
How to move it around in crazy places, crazy angles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like all of a sudden you kind of got like a radio clicked into your rear tire, knowing exactly what it's doing, where it is, what angle it's at.
Yeah.
And then the pressures associated with it.
That's one thing that makes moto for me fun, even still nowadays, is just like I like going and trying to ride a rough track and then just figuring out how to dissect that thing and get the smoothest lines and just taking different lines that no one else really takes, because a lot of people just try to hammer that main line.
Yeah.
And I love trying to get creative and like doing things that no one does, and a lot of times it ends up being a little faster and a lot smoother, and you don't wear yourself out as much.
There's no doubt. I mean, there's some point of embracing the suck, right? Of like taking something, because I'd be there. Like I remember riding a couple sections in some off-road races, and I'd like have a Elk Basin was one, and just had this uphill that was it was like uphill braking bumps for a mile. And I told somebody, I'm like, I don't know what to do with that. I mean, it just sucks, man. It's like, I hate it. Like, I'm thinking about it 20 minutes before I'm there. Like, just what a shitty deal it was going to be. And he's like, dude, you just got to embrace the suck. And like, I'm like, okay. And I came around, I saw it. I'm like, yeah, fuck you. And I just like, rah, and it was still beating the shit, but it was totally different.
Yep.
I got through it,
mindset is everything.
A lot quicker. And I just kind of embraced it. Yeah, they're like, yeah, dude, this is rough and gnarly. Like, don't be a bitch and whine about it.
Yep.
Just,
That's kind of exactly what you're talking about. Like I said, I used to always come from Montana. Everyone's always like, oh, you have it way harder because of the traveling. For me, like, I embrace the suck, like I said, especially right now. Like, I go to work and it's so fun when I get to go, like, we get a little bit of rain during the day and we get to go play on the tree ruts and stuff like that. People are like, what is this? I'm like, this is the most fun thing. Like, because you just, like I said, it's dissecting it piece by piece, and you're like, you find these little holes that you're bunny hopping over, and just to save that little bit of energy that you can maybe last 5 minutes longer. Or whatever,
you get in sync with the terrain, man.
Yep.
It's
feels good.
so cool.
Getting that flow.
Well, shoot, guys. This is, man, I thought it'd be pretty good. Matt Dewar, and I'm calling him Matt Do or Die.
I apologize. Yeah, I was just calling him Matt because he's my roommate.
Yeah, but he set this up, and and he sold it, and I thought it. He said you guys would be great together, and honestly, it's been great, man. I appreciate you guys taking the time, and who knows, maybe we'll do another one.
No,
Yeah,
I appreciate the opportunity, man. It was a ton of fun.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
maybe,
appreciate it.
Maybe catch a ride. So
Well, let's ride soon.
we do a bit of it.
I'm going riding tomorrow.
Right on.
Jake and I were
It
window
is
shopping.
Saturday.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we saw you. We when we have to walk up to the studio, we walk through all these beautiful bikes downstairs, all these brand new these Shercos, and then you go to these KTM's, and I'm a KTM guy, so I'm like cone valve, X Trigs, track shock. Holy cow.
cones.
Oh yeah, I love them, man. I'm looking at these bikes, I'm like, dang, this guy's on it. Let's go ride.
Oh yeah.
Well, cool, guys. Well, thank you so much. Again, signing out. Again, man, Dane Shovelin, North Carolina. You're going to love this bike, dude.
Congrats, dude.
Congrats. And everyone that put in, man, thank you so much. I think we got a plan. We're talking with these guys. I think we're going to do maybe like a super low-cost entry, like a $10 deal.
Yep.
And let's get another brand new bike out there, man. I think it'd be awesome. I dig it, man. It's cool to see. So
We'll be supporting. Yeah, we'll be supporting for sure.
right
be
on.
in it.
Cool. Everybody, thank you so much. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Rosemary, for running the audio and visual. And, we'll see you guys on the trails.
Thank you, Inside Enduro. This is fun.
Yep.
Over and out. Thank you.